Nicole.
Hey, Dr. Tony.
I'm so happy to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, I remember seeing you and meeting you for the first time exactly about a year ago in July of 2019, right?
Yes.
And why did you come? How did we meet? What was that all about?
So, pretty much, I knew nothing about holistic treatments, I knew
Mm-hmm.
nothing about Hope for Cancer, but thank God for Charles just kind of making a Facebook post, you
Mm-hmm.
know, trying to find people who have cancer. I didn't even really know that he was going to do 8 days or anything like that. So I was just like, yeah, I have ovarian cancer for the second time, going through chemotherapy, had surgery. And then he's like, well, tell me a little bit about your story. He's like, better yet, just send me a video.
Mm-hmm.
So I just sent a video, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll never hear from
Mm-hmm.
anybody again, but whatever. So in my head, the whole time I'm thinking, like, well, I wonder, what's going on or whatever. So I shoot him a message like, so how do I know? Like, don't worry about it. Just know that I'm fighting for you. So maybe, I don't know how long it took. Then I finally get a message back, and it's like, you're coming to Cancun. Do you mind being part of 8 days? I'm like, well, what is it?
What is it?
Yeah, he's like, well, it's going to be a kind of like a reality show
Right.
with cancer patients who undergo holistic treatments.
Mm-hmm.
So from that time, he gave me the website to look at because again, I never knew anything about holistic treatments. And I'm looking, I'm like, man, this is amazing. This is what I've been praying for
Mm-hmm.
because I knew it had to be something better. I knew it had to be something or someone to teach you how to eat correctly
Mm-hmm.
because in the States, they're like, oh no, you don't have to change your diet. You don't need to do anything. And I knew it had to be something better. So it was really a prayer answered basically because I'm like, man, God, please send me a sign, send me somebody that can help me. And sure enough, everything just kind of fell in place. I feel like it was just kind of part of God's plan because everything like literally worked out from beginning to end.
So yeah, we met in July of 2019. We
Yes.
did that filming for 8 days, the reality show that aired in WGN network
Yes.
in the U.S. And you were one of the featured patients along with four other patients.
Yes.
And you were one of the patients that were, we had a few patients that were brand new patients that were just starting their journey
Right.
with holistic integrative therapies. And then there were a couple patients that were follow-up patients.
Right.
And you guys got to know each other and
Yes.
for like
Yes.
a family atmosphere. And so now you're back. Now it's a year later.
Yes.
You've subsequent to that initial visit at Hope for Cancer, you came for another follow-up.
Yes.
And this is your second follow-up? Or
Yes,
this
second
is your
follow-up.
second follow-up. And it's a year after you were here for the first time.
Right.
You came to us because of ovarian cancer. I truly know that it was divinely inspired, right? How that
Right.
whole situation happened, that God brought you here in that
Yeah.
way. And so, give us a little background, Nicole, on your diagnosis of ovarian cancer, when that was, and
Okay.
you had a few surgeries, you had chemotherapy, and that's when God answered your prayers.
Okay.
Mm.
So pretty much 2014, I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, stage 3.
Mhm.
I had the right ovary removed, and I had chemotherapy shortly after. And then I done chemotherapy, I believe, for 6 months, and then they said, "Oh, you're cancer free."
Okay.
So I went about 4 years cancer free, and then at the end of 2018, I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer again, surgery, have the leftover removed, full hysterectomy. Went through chemotherapy again for 6 months, and they done like a CT scan at the end of the 6 months to see how everything was going with chemotherapy. And then they're like, "Oh, we see something on your liver. We see nodules on your lungs." And I'm like, "What do you mean, something?" And he never would say what that something was. So before he could tell me what that something was, I had learned about Hope for Cancer, and I'm like, I'm not doing chemotherapy anymore. So I came here, and it's just been a blessing ever since.
So from your first diagnosis to your recurrence, you didn't know anything that there were other
No.
options
No.
to treat you, like better nutrition,
No.
building your immune system.
No.
Because I remember, meeting for the first time. This was like so foreign to you, right?
Right. Yeah.
You didn't know what you were coming to do,
No,
right? But
did not.
you felt it in your heart and in your spirit
Yeah.
that it was something that you needed to do.
Exactly.
And so, what has happened since your stay here initially? This is your second follow up.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
So I feel pretty good. I kind of feel tired all the time, but I don't always sleep good at night. I work a lot of hours. But Hope for Cancer has taught me so much because they teach you how important nutrition is, how important the home care is as far as what they send you home with, like your vitamins and everything for your immune system. At home, the states, they don't teach you any of that stuff. After chemotherapy, you're done. They don't teach you anything about nutrition. You just go back for CT scans and blood work, and that's really it. So I don't know. It's just a blessing upon a blessing, just to be able to know and to keep yourself in check with, okay, so you need to eat right, you need to exercise, you need to make sure, once you run out of your vitamins or whatever it is that you're taking, to order more. So I'm always calling like, okay, so how long do I need to take this? Do I continue to take this? Because I try to make sure I do everything right. Nutrition is kind of a struggle sometimes, just because of where I live. We do have organic foods, but it's not a lot. And a lot of stuff is genetically modified, or they have fruits and it's not organic. So it's like, well, do I buy this or do I not? So I really, really need to step my game up and just go once a week or however often to like a whole food store, which would require me to go out of town somewhere. But I really need to be consistent with what I do. And I'm also trying to teach my son to eat correctly. So I'm really, really trying to be an example, so that it's an everyday life thing, like a life change, versus, oh, I'm on a diet. So I just want to make it a life change where it's just everyday life. It's just normal.
Nicole, this is music to my ears because it's a different Nicole
It is.
than I met a year ago,
It
right? That
is.
had no concept of this because the doctors don't explain
Right.
this to you, and you trust them. You know that
Exactly.
you think chemo and surgery were your only options. So I'm so happy. I'm so proud of you. And so you came for the first follow up, and at that time, what were the results after your initial stay at the clinic?
So for my first follow up, pretty much, I had a CT scan back home.
Okay.
Well, when I left here, they didn't see anything, but still, when I went back home, I had to get that CT scan that they wanted to do before I left. And he was just kind of like, he didn't know what happened because he didn't know that I had came to Hope for Cancer. And he's like, well, what did you do? I'm like, well, I went to Hope for Cancer for holistic treatments. He's like, well, we don't see what we saw on your liver. We don't see the nodules on your, on your lungs. So he was kind of like, whoa, wait a minute. But he wasn't happy that I came either. So I just kind of felt like I'm going to do what I need to do to save my life. I have a little boy that I want to raise. So I'm like, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get to Hope for Cancer. Whenever they tell me I need to come back, I'm going back just to make sure everything is good. Or, Lord forbid, if it does return, I'm still coming back to Hope for Cancer.
And so that was about 3 months ago? Or no, about 6 months ago.
About 6 months ago.
About 6 months ago, your first follow up.
Yes.
Now you're back for your second follow up. You did your last scan, back home. That didn't show anything. You're due for another one soon. But the test that we did here also showed nothing.
Exactly.
All your cancer markers are normal.
Yes.
The ultrasound, high resolution ultrasound, we don't see anything in the liver, no lymph nodes, nothing like that. So we're just so happy about that.
Yes.
And now you are in the NAD category, no evidence of disease, right?
No evidence
and
of
with
disease.
Stage 3, stage 4 ovarian cancer, this is quite remarkable. It's a tribute to your dedication, doing all the work, and also How important was the emotional aspect of all this for you, Nicole?
So the emotional part was very important. I guess sometimes I maybe carry other people's problems, or like if somebody else is diagnosed with cancer, or if someone else passes away of cancer, it kind of messes me up, like kind of gets to me. So I'm learning, like, don't carry other people's burdens. I don't know, I have a heart for people, I guess, and it's always like I'm taking on other people's problems. So I'm learning to deal with stress, just let things go, you know, because a lot of times it's something that we can't even change anyway. So we just have to let things go and just put it in God's hands.
So you really have another perspective, right? You're looking at cancer a lot differently now.
Yes.
That it's not that you're doomed, right, because of this cancer.
Right.
As you've seen, you saw your recovery, your healing, and that's so beautiful, isn't it?
Yes.
It's so nice. So, what is something that you would like to tell the viewers now that you've gone through the conventional treatments? You had no idea what all this was about with natural, holistic, integrative healing, and that you've had excellent results, right? With a diagnosis that wasn't too good, right? As to your future.
Right.
And you still, like all of us, still have to get better and doing things. Look at me, I'm getting an IV. Isn't it nice to go to a center where the doctor is giving himself the treatments that he recommends to the patients, right? So what message would you like to tell our viewers?
So pretty much I would just say nutrition is key, whether you believe it or not. Everything starts in the gut. It could be a common cold, bronchitis, diabetes, cancer. Everything starts in the gut, and you have to keep your body detoxed, basically. You know, what you put in is what's going to come out. If you eat junk, if you eat a lot of wrong things, then you're just messing up your body. So nutrition is key, regardless of what the doctors tell you. In the States, nutrition is key. So we do a lot of NutriBullets at my house. Bananas, apples, celery. I don't do too many carrots, but my son loves them. So now I'm going to get him to the point where he knows how to make his own, you know. So
your son is getting so empowered.
He is, but like it's kind of hard because I try to teach him healthy eating and nutrition, but at his grandma's house or his dad's house, he gets to eat whatever. So I'm trying to make him carry it on wherever he goes. You know, not just because I'm not there doesn't mean I can eat whatever. So that's a work in progress, but nutrition is key. And I wish I would have known this years ago. Because a lot of people think, oh, well, my grandmother ate like that, my great-grandmother, and nothing happened to her. Well, it's not true. So nutrition is key.
And you really embarked upon the 7 key principles that is our philosophy at Hope4Cancer, nutrition being one, 2 being detox that you mentioned again, 3 is oxygenation, right, getting walking, exercising, eating live green foods. 4th would be the microbiome, the gut health, as you mentioned. Then 5, we have, the emotional spiritual, right? The emotional spiritual, which is so important. And then the other one is the non-toxic cancer therapies. And with that, you didn't feel sick as you were getting better. Is that right, Nicole?
Right, because with chemotherapy, normally by the second or third day, I was throwing up. I lost my hair. With the second round of chemotherapy, by the second round, my hair was already falling out with the second diagnosis. So I just shaved it off. When I came here last year, I had just a little bit of peach fuzz. Now my hair may be about 3 inches, maybe. So it's growing. It's long enough to have braids now. So I'm excited about that. But, you know, if I could do it all over again, if I would have known about Hope4Cancer in 2014, good Lord willing, I would have made a way to be here, you know. But I thank God, even though I didn't know, 2018, God made it possible for me to be here. And I am forever grateful, like thankful.
And then let me just mention the 7 key principles. That's the immune system. And now you understand how important the immune system is, specifically after someone has had chemo or radiation, right? To keep up your immune system.
Yeah.
So that's important that you've embraced all these 7 key principles. And this is not just for now. Even though there's no evidence of disease, you're clear. This is a life path and a life journey.
Yes.
And not only for you, for all of us,
Exactly.
right? So that we decrease our risk
Right.
of developing cancer. And so proud of you, Nicole.
Thank you.
What has your experience been? This is your 3rd time to Hope4Cancer, your initial visit, the 2 follow-ups. Now we ask you to come back in 6 months for your next follow-up. And just tell the viewers how your experience has been here at the clinic. I know you don't like needles, right? We saw that in 8 days in the reality show that you really don't like needles.
Still afraid of needles, but unlike the States, like when you come to Hope4Cancer, people explain everything to you so that you understand. Like when I was going through the chemotherapy and even the surgeries, it was so much I didn't understand and didn't know. But here, everybody's so friendly and so genuine. Like it's almost like unreal, you know. But I thank God for it because it's almost like unheard of, you know. But I just feel like it's just who they are, you know. Everybody from the driver to every nurse, every doctor, everybody's friendly, and you know, it's from the heart. It's not fake, you know. So I really appreciate that because they make you feel welcome. They know that I'm afraid of needles, so they work with me. So you know, it's just comforting, you know.
And it was both ways, right? The staff loves you. I know when you came back this time, you know, it's everyone wants to see Nicole. She's back. She's healthy. She's smiling. You're a totally different person. I want to thank the producer of 8 Days, Charles Maddox, for making this, getting in touch with you, right? And making this happen. Of course, we know it was divinely inspired and guided. However, you know, we'd like to thank Charles Maddox for that.
Definitely.
And the whole team. It was quite a week, right?
It was.
Filming that 8 days. And here we are a year later, as I said, and I'm just so happy and proud of you, Nicole.
Thank you.
So thank you for this opportunity again. And every time you're here, we'll ask you to give us an update, right?
Okay,
But,
I definitely will.
Yeah, we're very happy, and thank you again for trusting us. And I'm so happy that you really saw our core values of hope, faith, generosity, and love, right? At every time, and that's important in this healing of cancer. Continue success, Nicole. Continue your diligence, and remember, there's always hope, and you've embraced that, and you're living that now. So I just look forward not only seeing you as a patient, but just being your continued friend. We're here for anything you need.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.